Hello. Hey, folks. I'm actually live again. It's been a while. How you doing? Okay, apparently I don't have my camera right. So I'm going to try that. Anyway, hi, folks. Welcome back to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki. Okay, let's see. Try it this way. Anyhow, so tonight, I'm going to be talking. Well, let's see. Let's do this side. I'm not used to having this long of hair, so I apologize as I fuss with a few things. Anyway, welcome back to Restore Belief with Nikki. Had some unexpected phone things going on. Anyway, so tonight I'm going to be talking about hybrid pregnancies, as I just experienced another one. My 30th. I still can't believe that number. I still have a hard time with it, but I know it's real. I know it's happening. Okay, so this subject is going to hit close to home for some, and for others, they're going to go, what the hell is she talking about? And why is she talking about this? And why are we doing this? Well, okay, hang on. I'm going to hit this and then hit that. Okay, there we go. All right, there we are. So basically, I'm not going to go through the process of the pregnancies. I've done that before on a number of different of my, podcasts. Oh, good grief. Here we go again. I apologize. And so basically, I'm just going to talk this time about what it's like being hybrid pregnant, ET hybrid pregnant. That's typically what I call it, ET hybrid pregnant or hybrid pregnant. So I've had a couple of experiences this time around, which are different than the last many babies that I've experienced. One of them being during the protection of me, because I was under attack by U.S. government weapons, or energy weapons specifically. The baby did something that I've never experienced before. He tried to protect, and it was a boy, and he tried to protect me. And in doing so, he protected me in such a way while I slept that I woke up, and obviously when you wake up, you got to pee. So I went to the bathroom, and as I'm passing the mirror, I caught a glimpse of myself, and I saw green as I was walking by. And I literally did a double take. I turned around, looked at myself in the mirror, and the first words out of my mouth were, "Why the fuck am I green?" I was green. Freaked me out really bad because I thought baby had died, and my body was, because of his protection, I thought he had died, and my body was trying to absorb whatever, and that wasn't the situation. Baby was very much okay, but completely and totally exhausted and sound asleep. Oh my God, I screamed a lot in my head. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? You got to wake up. We got to wake you up. I got to know if you're okay. And eventually he woke up and told me that he was okay and all of that. But so by the time I went to the bathroom, washed my hands, and looking at myself in the mirror, I was no longer green. And it was just that fast. And it was completely because what I since learned was that it was completely because he was totally exhausted by doing what he did. And I'm not going to explain what he did, because that's between me and him. And it's also a form of protection against the government assets, that I will not give up that information. Cold day in hell. So, that said, what it's like being ET pregnant. Many of the babies, well, actually, all of the babies are telepathic. What I didn't realize until this would make 4, the last 4 babies, was that not only are they telepathic, they can see through your eyes. They can hear everything through your ears, as well as their own hearing, their own physical hearing. I did not know that or realize that. It's been the last 4 babies, but it's really been the last 2, 3 that it has hit me that hard. And hello to the 5 in, not in chat, but the 5 that are watching. I very much appreciate you. As I always say, please come on in, grab a cuppa, whatever you want to drink, a snack. I am just getting over having pneumonia, and if it weren't for the baby's help and the help from a dear friend, I would have been hospitalized 3 different separate times. So I thank my son, I thank my friend very, very much. I'm still having problems. I'm still coughing. But it's nowhere near like it was. And I'm nowhere near like I was when I was last on video 2 weeks ago. So, and I said that I would do Sunday, and I didn't even know if I could do it. There have been a number of factors that have hit my environment and have dealt with computer things. So I was really hoping that this would be able to be fruitful. And a psychic friend of mine, when I sent her the link, said, "I'm being told you're going to have a great show." I'm like, right on. That's what I want to hear. I was hoping she'd be able to come, but she's not able to. Anyway, and I'm going to try to keep the coughing down to a minimum. I still have it, but it's not like a wet mucusy cough. So that in one thing is a good thing. So anyway, and I can feel one building right now. So I'm getting the TP ready so that I'm not coughing and spewing everywhere. Anyway, so regarding, and I'm on top chat again. Dang it. I need to be on live chat. There we go. Okay. Oh, here we go. See, it's not, usually it takes 3, excuse me, 3 rounds before I start really getting it. Anyway, so regarding the babies, so they can see and hear through, which I wish I knew and understood that early on. So I am what I'm calling myself a surrogate mom. I used to call myself, well, they're like a parasite and they're this and they're that and that. I'm more, I don't know if those are the right words. I was going to say grateful and thankful, but yet at the same time, those aren't quite the right words. Because what I have since learned medically is that, as with all human pregnancies, genetics from the baby run rampant through the human body. of the mother. And that is the same with hybrid pregnancies as well. The genetics run through the mother. They run through the body, they run through the brain, all aspects of it. So it's something that it's been a heck of a process for me to grasp all of this, to grapplate, grab onto, whatever you want to call it. Um, Sorry, I'm fighting a cough. Can feel it. It's not quite to the right stage yet. Ooh. Anyway, so basically, with this previous hybrid pregnancy, I learned even more, such as these infants have their abilities almost finally. Sorry, folks. And I have no way to mute this. Okay, for whatever, my speakers are off, but hopefully that, I didn't think that muted me. Anyway, I apologize. Yeah, we're good. All right. So basically, they can see, they can hear, they have their own abilities almost from inception, from the time you go through the zygote, you go through the embryo, the zygote state, all of those stages, right? Well, once the ETs implant an ET soul into the embryo at a specific stage, they can converse with you. Now, what I did not realize until this time around is that they are the adult soul once they're implanted. And I call it implanted because it's like when we incarnate. It's the same thing. It's when they incarnate, but they are specifically having help incarnating into that embryo, into that baby. Excuse me. And what I've learned, sorry, I'm trying to calm my lungs. What I've learned is that in that, what I call implantation of the soul, because that's what they're doing. I mean, I felt it. This pregnancy, I felt it full force, hardcore. I know exactly what it's like. I know exactly what they're doing. I know every aspect of how it feels. Sorry, now the nose is running because the cough thing is starting to kick in. I apologize. I hate that on camera. Anyway, so, and this is going to probably be long and drawn out because I didn't know how I was going to talk about this. I knew that this was the subject that I wanted to talk about after they took him. And here's one thing that you need to know. Not all hybrid pregnancies are the same in the sense of timing. Many surrogate human mothers are host mothers. They are, I had the words and now they're gone. That's interesting. Really interesting. That wasn't by me. Oh, fascinating. In other words, I'm getting played with. That's fun. So, let's see if I can regroup. when F-balls. All right, folks, I do apologize. I'm having a hard time remembering it, and I'm being blocked. I'm being blocked from that specific memory on what I was going to say. So, all right, we're going to move on. So they have all these abilities. When they're implanted into the baby, they're an adult. They're the adult form. Once the baby becomes more formed, I was trying to figure out how to say that. Once the baby becomes more formed, they revert into childlike, not infancy, but more like a 5, 6, 7-year-old. So there we go. My hybrid pregnancies, they're 3 months. I have been, I don't want to say called out on the carpet. That's not the right way to say this. There are other women who are hybrid mothers, hybrid surrogate mothers, who do not believe when I say 3 months. That's fine. Everybody has, and because of them, I have learned that every hybrid pregnancy is not 3 months. Many hybrid pregnancies run around 6 to 8 weeks. I've been consistently told by others that their pregnancies are 6 to 8 weeks in length. Mine have never been 6 to 8 weeks. Mine were 5 months in the beginning. Very different babies in the beginning when I was first pregnant. And they started impregnating me at 13 years old. Okay, that's a whole nother subject I'm not going to get into, other than to say, when I go back and think about it, I'm not a happy camper over that. Way too freaking young. But that's what they were doing. Okay, hang on a second. I gotta wet the throat. Sorry. All right, so sorry. So basically, we the length of time can vary. So I was born in 1968. I'm 56 years old. Sorry, dyslexia just kicked in. I'm 56 years old. They started me at 13. At the age of 14 was when they took the first baby from my body. I believe I was approximately 5 months pregnant at the time, but I didn't feel how I've come to know what pregnancy is with my human son and with many other children, hybrid children, I should say. So that said, and I've met and remember my firstborn, and she's stunning. I mean, she's just, oh my God. She's over 7 feet. I have to think about that a second. She's over 7 feet tall, because I have a memory of her in a very specific way. And I had to think of how tall I am in comparison to what I know height is. And I'm usually pretty good on height. So, excuse me. So basically, and she's stunning. But she was a small baby, very small, but she was also a specific extraterrestrial race, species, whatever you want to call her, or call them. Um, so that said, I've I've had pregnancies where the infants are very small, like her. The boys can be that way as well, but not always. Now, I've had girls who are big, and I've had boys who are big. And this last one was a big kid. Um, one of the things that I started doing was I started weighing myself. And so by halfway through, I had figured out that he was 4.5 pounds. By the end, he was 8 pounds, and I felt like I was 9 months pregnant carrying a very large weighted basketball. Um, I felt very much like I did with my human son when I was 9 months pregnant, only at 9 months pregnant with my human son, I literally looked like a beached whale. I mean, I'm not joking when I say that. There's a picture of me that, and I was on bed rest, and I had to get I had to think about that a second. I had to get 3 doctors' permissions to even go to a New Year's Eve party that our friends were throwing, and I had explicit orders. You are not to do anything but sit on that couch or get up to pee. And that's essentially how it was. Um, and there was a friend who was a nurse, and they were very specific. They were very specific. You're not doing anything, Nikki. Yes, ma'am. But I did. I had this gigantic belly, and it was different than a lot of other women that I had come across because I was on bed rest from the time I was 7 months pregnant with that pregnancy with my human son. Well, that's how I felt when I was pregnant this time around. I felt like I could put my fingers over my belly, and I just it was like, whoa. The pressure on the inside of my organs was very much like that. Um so it was very much like human pregnancies. Um but yet at the same time, one of the things that a friend asked me, um one of the things that a friend of mine asked me that comes on and asks a lot of questions here, and I appreciate that immensely. Um, he had asked if, oh shoot, now I'm gonna have to go look for it because I lost it again, and I'm having a hard time. This is how I've been with this. There you are. This is how I've been with this. Pneumonia. I was gonna say bronchitis. It's not bronchitis. It's pneumonia. Let's see if I can find the question. Um, One second. Sorry, folks. I am looking. I'm trying to. Um, oh, that's about the Akashic records. He asked a lot of really good questions, such as would the ETs take you off world to keep you safe or relocate you here on Earth to keep you safe? And that's because of the targeting. I don't think they would, but I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong. If I disappeared, that's what I would assume would happen. Um, but So, let's see. Uh, he has some great questions. Are any of your hybrid kids living on Earth or are they off planet? I have no knowledge of that. All I can go off of is gut instinct. I have no knowledge of that. I'm not finding it. I really thought I'd be able to easily find it. I apologize. Uh, the one thing, are you able to maintain communication while the baby is gestating, or is that a pause until birth? There's always communication, only I didn't realize that until the last four pregnancies, the last four hybrid pregnancies. Um, yeah, I'm not finding what he had asked. Um, Are these pregnancies as taxing on you as a human pregnancy? No. One of the things that he did ask me was because he asked a series, I went ahead and I said, well, I know you well enough to know that you asked some really awesome questions, and I want to be sure that if you've got questions, that you can ask me whatever. And he did. And um, where to go? So it's not as taxing. I do not one of the things he had asked was, "Do I get, like, morning sickness? Do you have the human equivalent of a pregnancy?" No, I don't. I'm not nauseated. I don't have the morning sickness. I do not have any of those kind of things taking place. Um, Matter of fact, I have been hybrid pregnant while I've had a period, which I didn't even think was possible. Boy, was I wrong. You can still have your menstrual cycle while you're ET pregnant. Not typically the case unless something is going on with a human pregnancy. So, quite a bit different on that. Please hit the like button. It helps the algorithms. If you like this, share this information out if you would. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I appreciate it. I don't have a lot of followers, but I do have a number, and I didn't post publicly days ahead of time on this one. So, and I understand that it's part of it is because I was sick, and I honestly, even though I said that I was going to be here for Sunday at 7, I made it at 7:15 instead, and I did make it. Okay, so these pregnancies, you don't go through the typical. So you're not going to necessarily feel like, as a woman, you're not going to necessarily feel like you're pregnant. Um, Now, I'm in a hybridization program that is different than some others. There are numerous different versions of um, hybridization programs. The one that I am in is the one where um, they do the implantation, the impregnation of the human female, and then they remove the baby after a specific amount of gestational time in the surrogate mother. And then um, they take the baby at a specific stage for that. And this is something else that I've learned with the last four, specifically the last four pregnancy, hybrid pregnancies is that depending upon the species that they have done the splicing and dicing of the genetics with the human. Excuse me. I apologize. This is why I wasn't going to come on. Because I really didn't want to be doing that while I was on camera. Anyway, the point is that the gestational time can be different. The not only in the surrogate mother, but when they take the babies, they are in the sac. God, that's all I can think of is the name is calling it the sac. I can't think of what it's called at this second. Anyway, they're in that sac and they detach the baby, the sac. They detach that sac from the human mother. And the baby is placed into a container of what I can only call goo or gel. I've seen it as blue. I've seen it as green before. I've never seen any other color that I can consciously remember while I've been on board ship. I've seen clones, human clones in that goo as well. Theirs is more of the clones is it's kind of a clear, but it's more towards the green blue, kind of like a seafoam color, but more blue than anything else. And so that's different. But with the hybrid babies, when I've seen container after container after container on what I can only call a counter, I've seen the babies in blue gel or goo. I've seen the babies in green goo. So I believe that is based on whatever they've genetically spliced and diced the genetics with regarding that species or race of ET. I'm obviously a Caucasian female. I've had children that have, when they are birthed, because that's what it's called, being birthed from those containers. I've had children that I have seen that are when they're born, but when they attach back to me, in other words, when you have skin on skin contact, the color changes and they go to their normal state of color. So I've had babies that I have seen that are Caucasian, but they're blue. I've had babies where they've been Caucasian, but they're green. I've had babies where they've been Caucasian, but they have a tawny, this beautiful pale brown color that I can only classify as a tawny color because it's kind of like a creamy, like a really pale creamy brown. There, and I'm someone who, and this is something that I learned when in my photography days, is that I'm someone who loves skin color. I and I don't. I've got a photographer's eye, and I have always loved skin color and skin and how light affects it and all this stuff. And so that's my photographer's eye and the artist eye that I've got. Because I also used to be an artist at one time. Not anymore, but which is why I get so frustrated with my paintings and my artwork. Because I haven't practiced in so many years, and anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But my point is that these babies, when you hold them as a mother after they've been birthed, they revert into their natural normal color, whatever that's going to be, whether it's going to be a gray or whether it's going to be a tawny brown or a and to me that's a beautiful color. I mean, that to me is just truly a beautiful color. Or blue or green or Caucasian. um, I've seen children of all different colors. I kid you not. It's incredible what I've witnessed. These kids are just, they're gorgeous. Um, and they are children, but I'm here to tell you they grow extremely fast. Now I know other um, surrogate moms of hybrid children who are in very different programs. Um, there are women who are in hybrid programs where they are birthing their children. I do not birth my children. I do not know why that is. I actually had a conversation. I made this public on Wednesday during the S4 Paranormal Bunker show. And by the way, we're now on, that's the Wednesday night show that I do with a group of folks, a panel of us. And we talk about everything under the sun, everything from ufology to paranormal to regular daily stuff to security things to government to, I mean, we talk about everything. I will put the link in either in the description box below or in the chat boxes comment section below. For those that are watching this on replay, you will find it. I'll put the link into the channel link. I'll put in there. And our last one we had, or our first one on YouTube, we had some tech issues. So, but it's still posted. It's still up. So anyway, so these pregnancies, you go through cravings just like you do with a regular human pregnancy. You will go through cravings, and you couldn't, unless you are aware that you are a surrogate mother, a host mother, you're probably not going to understand why you're craving certain things. Some of my babies, I crave tomatoes and potatoes. Well, that's the nightshade family, and I'm allergic to the nightshade family. But I do not have anywhere near the kind of reaction that I have when I have those, because I do eat those items when I'm ET pregnant, hybrid pregnant, and the reaction is almost nil. And other babies, I will crave like celery. Oh my God, celery and apples, I can't get enough of. I still don't understand that. There's something in the nutrients that they require. I've had ones where I have craved chocolate, and I'm like, what the hell is with that? Well, that's got to be magnesium or something else in the chocolate, and it's specific chocolate. Excuse me. So, yeah, there we go. Okay. So these babies, they are telepathic. They are telepathic with the mother. But unless the mother is conscious of what is taking place, the mother's not going to recognize. It's going to come across as self-talk. And or you feel like you're getting an idea. That's something that I have learned over the years. That's one of the reasons why I didn't register, but instinctually I knew I was pregnant. Matter of fact, there were so many times in the 90s and early 2000s where after I had before and after I had my human son, I felt like I was pregnant. I constantly felt like I was pregnant. This time around with this specific pregnancy, I chose and fought not to have a pregnancy test, even if I ended up in the hospital, and they wouldn't have known unless I specifically asked for it. And as the adult, when he was implanted into, his soul was implanted into the baby, and he was an adult, we had adult conversations. Over the course of time, he reverted to a childlike state, and that's because his soul was converting, which is what happens to us. His soul was it happens to us humans. His soul was converting into infancy form, and taking on what it was like being an infant. Now, these infants are extremely advanced. Excuse me, sorry. Extremely advanced. And so not only are they telepathic, they do have abilities and they can help the mother if they so chose to do that. And when I say they know everything that's going on, they know in extreme detail. So that has been a heck of a mind bender for me. Your bowel system changes. Your urinary tract, it doesn't, but you will pee a lot more. But your bowels will change. Your organs will change a bit because you've got ET genetics running through your body, and it's trying to protect the baby at the same time as deal with because you are a host, you are a surrogate, and everything that means. Do I find I'm getting a weird, it's almost like somebody in spirit is trying to ask me, do I feel, it's not the right words. How do I feel when I have certain aspects going on during the pregnancies? And I'm not going to say what aspects, I was just told. So how do I say? I get very protective of these children. So when I was sick with pneumonia, because the last video I was on, I was ET pregnant, folks. And the other thing that just popped in my head, I'm down 15 pounds. Now, I was in the process of being down 7 pounds, but by the time he was fully formed and they took him, he was a little over 8 pounds. And I'm a big woman anyway. You're not gonna notice if I'm pregnant. I just look like I'm morbidly obese, and I am, but that's kind of beside the point. Anyway, so they're telepathic. They have the ability for a wide variety of things, to be in communication with the mother, whether the mother realizes it or not. And this is why early on, when I was really realizing what was taking place with me, consciously remembering why I was calling them parasitic. But a baby isn't parasitic. And it took me a lot of realizations, a lot of dealing with my own emotions, grappling with all of this, even though I've known it since early on. I mean, I've known all of this since early on. So that'll, okay, I need to get rid of that. That just popped up. Excuse me. So, sorry, folks. Goodness. All right, so I'm being told I need to show my mug. So I was gifted this mug. It says S for Paranormal Radio on it. Hey, Christine. Pretty mug. Yeah. Yeah, it's the paranormal, it's the S4 Paranormal Bunker. And I love it. So all of us on the show have been gifted this mug. I treasure this mug more than the UFOI team mug that I've got, which I use periodically because I was on that team for a while, couple years. Anyway, before we all kind of just disbanded for a variety of reasons. So these pregnancies, these babies, they can influence, if they so choose, they can influence the mom. If the mom doesn't realize certain things. Now, the other thing is that with that influence, these babies are psychic. You need to understand that. Every single one of these babies that I have ever had have been psychic. So if you are a psychic medium, that will further or heighten your abilities quite a bit. Knew I wasn't quite ready for today. Getting tired. That's the one thing that I'm not used to. I'm still, even though I'm feeling a lot better, I'm still not used to being this tired. Anyway, so, and with the issue of potentially going into the hospital on 3 occasions, because my oxygen saturation levels, and Christine knows this, because she was one of the few people who were checking on me, which, thank you, my dear. Thank you. My oxygen saturation levels got really scary low, like very, very scary low. And baby, combined with Robert White, who was helping me, they helped me. The two of them helped me significantly. And then I started having problems with my heart. And I wasn't necessarily going to talk about that, but the two of them, they kept me out of the hospital. I had some extremely scary situations, and I knew that if it got to a very specific level, I was going into the ER, no matter what. But and then you've got the government asshats who were targeting me with energy weapons while I was ET pregnant, hybrid pregnant, and that pissed me off. And it actually has made, because of what they've done, and since I already know that you're listening and watching, or will be, shortly after this broadcast ends, they're pretty pissed. They don't take lightly to one of their surrogate mothers being targeted in the way that you guys have targeted me with energy weapons. And the fact that this infant, do you understand this? Infant, you were targeting an infant. It's one thing to target me. It's a different ballgame to target an infant. Granted, he is ET and human. He went out of his way to protect me. Did it nearly kill him? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Did it wipe him out? Yeah. But they can protect a mother. Matter of fact, I can't say that. Damn. I felt what it was like when he was protecting me in living detail. I felt every aspect of it. And it was I've experienced some really wicked and some really cool things in my life. This is up there. This is like really freaking up there. And it would be to his detriment, my detriment, and the ET's detriment if I stated publicly what it was that they are capable of and what I experienced. It would put us in, and I'm not ET pregnant right now, but it would put all of us in extreme danger. But the fact of the matter is, you screw with one of their surrogate mothers, with one of their, because they consider them family, but they also consider them property. Okay? They're very legalistic. This specific group of ET, they're very, very legalistic. And you screw with one of them, they're going to come after you. They don't like to, but because you've deliberately tried to harm me while I was ET pregnant, that's a big deal. And these are people who aren't typically violent. They aren't typically, but you've done an attack. A great length of time of an attack, I might add. And it got very serious. It got very serious for me. Plus the fact that I was very ill. And you've made an impact, so much so that I already know that after they took baby, because they were watching, they were because of the implants I've got, and because of my voice is starting to get wonky. Sorry, folks. And I'm getting nasally, so I apologize. I'm okay. I'm just tired. The fact of the matter is that you've made a point with them, and I already know that it's gone to the councils. What you have done to me, because of what you have done to me, and my baby, their baby, because that's how they consider it, their baby. What you have done has gone to their councils, their council members, and they will be taking action. I already know this. I can feel it. It's gone up their chain of command. Do you know how big of a deal that is? You've effed yourself over by doing this. I mean, like hardcore. This is something that they will take action on. And I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's wazoo. If I can feel it, and the way I feel it, whew, wow, you're screwed. And I hope your ass is nailed with what you've been doing to me. That's me being vindictive and wanting justice served, done and served. Christine, I'm sure you get worn out easier. It'll take you a while to get back to normal after illness. Yeah, and I'm not even near over it. I'm still The stuff, like I had a real hard time yesterday and last night getting my vitamin supplements and my herbal tinctures down and stuff. And today my sinuses are green, but my lungs are clear. So yeah, I'm struggling with that again. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm nowhere near completely better, but tomorrow and Tuesday I want to actually start walking again outside, but I've got to do really tiny amounts of it, and I've got to protect my lungs and stuff. So, because my son wants to take me out walking again, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all for it, but I've got to have the energy to be able to do it, because that'll wipe me out. I was out on Thursday and Saturday, and it just absolutely utterly wiped me out. Just the energy of it, and it's my lungs were okay, my sinuses were okay, but the energy level, and so my body is still reacting like I've got full on pneumonia. And I know what pneumonia is like. I've had it so many freaking times in my lifetime. It's not even funny. It doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, it's bad. And this one, because of baby's abilities and because of Robert White's abilities, the two of them were able to help me significantly. I've never experienced what I've experienced with this round of pneumonia, and I'm so incredibly appreciative and thankful to them. I honestly feel like the two of them saved my life on a number of occasions, in fact. Um, and certain aspects of my health are better because of what they've done. On top of it, um, I asked baby to help me with something with his energy, and he did, and it was incredible. So I'm not going to say what it was, but it what he was able to do for Mama was just mind bending to me, absolutely mind bending. So the two of us, when we combined our energy, wow, blew things out of the water. Let's just put it that way. Um, and not all these babies will do that. Why he chose me, why this specific soul chose me, I don't know. Do I know what he's going to become? No. Do I have an idea? I can guess. Am I going to state that publicly or out loud even? F no. No way. Not going to happen, because that would put him in jeopardy. Um and something I said publicly on Wednesday is that if somebody, whether it's voice to skull, government shit, or whether it is some wannabe, or I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, or somebody else, government asshat in astral or higher consciousness, tries to tell me that it's my son talking to me and trying to have communication. That's bullshit. Ain't gonna happen. We've got codes. We've got very, very specific codes for security. And we did it that way for real specific reasons, just because of you asshots. Um, so, um, absolutely incredible. I'm just completely, utterly kind of blown away by what this baby was able to do, and protection and abilities. Um, the communication we had was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Um, and I've really had that the last 4 ET pregnancies. So what it's like, one of the first things after his soul, right after his soul was placed into the hybrid baby. I was washing my hands after going to the bathroom, and I forgot and I left the water on. And he goes, "You're wasting your resources." A number of weeks later, baby mentality, or not baby mentality, young child mentality. Mama, shut the water off. Because by that point, I was really sick with the pneumonia. And he was reminding me. But when he was newly implanted as a soul, he was like, "You're wasting your resources." And I went, "Water." And I just instantly shut the water off. And I'm usually very good about that because that was something. My dad lived in California for, oh God, 20, 30, 40 years. I don't remember. It's been a long, really long freaking time before he died. And they had water shortages in the city that he lived in. I had to think of I was going to say town, but no, it's a city. Anyway, and so after he passed, he was very specific with me. "Nikki, shut that water off." Whether I was washing hands or brushing teeth or shower, different ball game, but or washing dishes even. We don't recognize how much we waste our resources on this planet, and it's significantly to our detriment. And that was one of the things that he reminded. That was one of the things that this baby reminded me of. His soul reminded me of was, you got to be careful with your resources, please. And then by the time he was, young child, was, "Mama, water." Well, like, "Oh yes, dear." Because when you're sick and you're very out of it, and you're like very out of it, and you're just trying to get through the illness, you're not registering, got to shut the water off when you're washing hands. So I'm very thankful and very grateful, and regarding these pregnancies, because I have learned so much. Sorry, I just had a thought run through, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm actually going to say anything. Yeah. Gotta have my iced tea. I'm so thankful for bleach. I bleach these mugs every day. Anyway, so the pregnancies are very much like a regular pregnancy. You go through cravings. You may or may not have, you may or may not have periods, menstrual cycles. They will communicate with you typically. Like when I was unaware, because I kept talking myself out of, "Well, you're not pregnant." Back in the 90s and early 2000s, "You're not pregnant. What the hell are you thinking?" That kind of thing. They see everything. Hey, Amy. Yeah, hi, Amy. A thought run through is still better than a thought walk through. True. Very true. I can feel it. It's not quite there yet. Excuse me. So anyhow, so I'm very, very connected to this kid, more, I think, really more than any of my other kids. Well, no, there's a boy and another boy and another girl that I'm very connected with. I can still periodically feel them as they are adults. Do I know where they're at? No. I suspect where they're at? Yes, but I don't have any knowledge of it. Neither one of them have told me. And that's not only for their safety, that's for my safety. And I understand that. So trying to think of other things. Do you recall being picked up and implanted? I'm guessing it would. I can't say that. No, I was really out of it at the time. I thought I had been abducted, but the abduction didn't feel like what is normal for me. And so I discounted. I was trying to find the right word. I discounted it. And the way that I found out that I was pregnant was waking up in bed, being very out of it, just in that coming out of sleep stage. But still, you're groggy and you're in bed and you're like, oh, I think I need to get up to go pee. Yeah, okay. Are we going to get up or are we going to go back to sleep? Oh. And that's when I literally heard we can't do anything with her now because she's pregnant. They wanted me, and there were two ETs on the other outside of my wall. They wanted me to know that because they were speaking English telepathic to themselves. There's specific things and reasons they will do that. Otherwise, they click. This specific race or species, or I got hair fallout. It's driving me nuts. There we go. Will click when they talk to each other verbally. It's kind of like that. That's not the right tone. It's not the right pitch. It's none of that, but it's along those lines. And so when I'd gotten up to go to the bathroom after hearing this, I registered it, and I remember thinking, oh, I need to write that down. I got up, went to the bathroom, washed the hands, came back, closed my door, and sat down in my chair, and I'm thinking, I've got to climb back into bed, but I just need to sit here a moment. And that's when I heard clicking. And I went, shit, I did hear them. Crap. That means I need to write that down. Holy shit, they really did say to me that I was pregnant, or say to each other that I was pregnant. Oh my God, that was deliberately done because they're registering that. So that's how I knew the date, is because I write it down. You have to journal these things. If you even suspect, you need to write it down. How do you think I figured out that there's a season to these abductions? It's not our season, it's their season. Although I do have to say it's also, they will get, how do I say this? They will give inoculations, what they call inoculations. They'll give shots and things to help the human mother, for hormones and for different things. And so, sorry, I just saw something on my screen. I'm not getting it. Yeah. Well, thankfully, I don't have the burn. I appreciate that, because that means I'm in trouble if I get the burn. Anyway, I've got to do more lung exercises in order to deal with this. It'll get better. Anyway, so that's why I knew the timeline of what date to write down of expected return abduction for them to get the baby. Now, what I've been wondering is if they do an abduction, Because there have been times where I know I've been on board ship and they've removed the baby. There are times where I know I've not been on ship, but the baby's removed. So that leads me into asking, have they created new tech? Have I asked them this? No, because I don't remember it when I'm there. But it leads me to ask, have they created new tech to where they can remove the baby in a phase shift mode and put it immediately into a gestational container that they have with them? I don't know how they do it. I just know it's done. I also know that in the removal of the infants, it's via some sort of what I call phase shifting. It's literally where they keep the physical mother in this state, like I am right now, like you are who are watching this are right now, but they will phase shift into a different, it's almost like putting the infant into the etherical realm. They're shifting the frequency. Damn it. There. It's almost like drainage, but it's not. Can't quite call it up. Anyway, it's like they're putting the infant into some kind of phase shift. And to where it's in an extreme high frequency, to where, and it's how we are when they literally take us through walls and ceilings and doors and physical things on this level of existence. It's called, well, it's not just what I call it, but I know it as phase shifting. PHASING, not Z. Phase shifting. There's something about it. It's a higher frequency level in such an extreme level that it literally makes you be able to walk through walls, walk through as they abduct, take you out through a wall, take you out through a window, take you out through a ceiling or a roof. It's that form. So I'm wondering if that's what's being done. Do I know that that's what's being done? No, but I highly suspect that's what's being done, and that they will literally phase shift. They will phase shift the placenta. That was the word I could not think of. They will literally phase shift the placental sac and the connection to the mother. Now, one of the things that I was asked, one of the things that Cole Wegleitner asked me on the show on Wednesday, last Wednesday. Okay, I need a different one since I've done that. Last Wednesday, which wasn't heard, which just irritated me no end because of our tech issues. Because when I went back to listen to it, excuse me, you couldn't hear his question, which is why in the comment section, amniotic sac, thank you. And so did I have any physical sensation? Did I have anything happen afterwards? And because with a human pregnancy, hello, the woman has a tendency to have kind of like a menstrual bleed after they give birth. Well, with these pregnancies, once they remove the infant, you might have that. Hey, Sandra, I'm glad to see you, my dear. They might have that. Me, this time, I had 2 rounds of spotting, and that was it. And it was minor. It was very minor. And I'm being TMI. I get that. But you have to understand that you don't always have it. It means that the baby, for me to have it, it means that the baby was implanted into my uterus in a very specific way. And somehow they did the connection. They did a different connection. Now, here's the other thing I know. When I have seen one of my boys, because Robert was the one who got me out of my body in astral and took me, because I made that very public last Wednesday. So I'm going to say it here. One of my best Christmas gifts that I've ever had was Robert took me, he found my son, one of my hybrid sons, in gestational container, and because he went searching and he found him, and he's like, I have a present for you, but I need you to come with me in astral. And I'm like, I haven't been in astral in a very long time. I'm higher consciousness versus astral. I do I haven't, I used to do astral work all the time, and then I stopped doing it for very specific reasons. Well, I haven't been able to get out of my body in a number of years, and I've tried repeatedly, and it has nothing to do with fear factor for me. There's very specific reasons for it. And we were on video, and he said, I've got a present for you. I want to take you somewhere, but you need to come with me in astral. And I was like, oh, well, you're going to have to do the work to get my body out of astral, and I give you complete permission to do that. And he did. He gave a number of really hard, tough yanks. I reached up my hands and I said, pull. I literally physically reached up my hands like this on video, and I said, pull. And he did, and it took a few rounds, and he got me out, and I'm like, thank you. And the next thing I know, we're going through vortexes. I thought they were portals, but they were like wormholes or vortexes, but they spun. And we went through 7 of them. And basically what we were doing is we were going through 7 versions. We were going through versions of whoops, did that too much. I forgot my foot was there and I bounced everything. And so he took me through these vortexes, basically through over 7 galaxies away. And I think it's more than that, but that's beside the point. And because we'd come out of one, and he was the one who was opening them up. He knows how to open these things up. And there are a lot of humans that I know that can actually do this. He's not alone. This is not a unusual ability, folks. So just an FYI. And so he was opening them up, and we were going through, and I'll never forget seeing the ship or seeing the planted. It was plant. God. I will never forget seeing the ship orbiting the planet it was orbiting. And I will never, to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever described the planet. I don't consciously remember describing the planet over the airways before. So, and to me, that's too big of a security risk. There's no way in hell. So we went straight through the ship, and I'm like, yep, this is the ship that they abducted me on. And I went, wait a minute, I've been on this ship. And then what I also realized was that it wasn't the long haul ship I've been on. This is the ship that I've been on that they transport. So basically what I realized, and I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly anyway, what I realized because of that experience with Robert was because they have a mothership that is in our galaxy and can go very, 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 very long distances. I mean, it can go multiple galaxies, all this kind of stuff. It's huge. This ship is freaking gigantic. It's bigger than anything I could really ever describe. But here's the thing. The ship that I saw, where I knew the baby was, and he was tracking the baby's energy is basically what he was doing. And that can be done, folks. You can track in astral simply because of somebody's energy. Super freaking easy to do. And it's funny because a lot of the government asshats, they don't do that. They do, but they don't. Damn it. Anyway. Okay. That one actually hurt. So, the ship that I saw, I have been on, but it wasn't the ship that I'm typically abducted on. This was a ship that got. What I've realized because of this experience was that the mothership typically stays in this galaxy, does go outside and come back. Their version of 4 hours to get to Earth, to come deal with an abductee's situation, whatever that is, they can be long haul distances away, and they can be completely across our galaxy or outside of our galaxy coming in. I mean, they could get here in the blink of a frickin' eye. I mean, it is incredible how fast they can travel, especially if there's an emergency with an abductee that involves them. And so with this baby, the baby wasn't on board the ship. It was actually on that. I was going to call it Earth. It's not Earth. That baby was on the planet, and we traveled through. And the ship recognized me. I felt it. And it's a female. It was a female energy because those ships, and they're specific. ET ships are conscious metal. And I felt her. And it was like I got told, go down. In other words, go down to the planet. And Robert knew exactly where this kid was, baby. And we went straight to the room. And I mean, it was like literally like a blink of an eye. And I saw my son. And I got to put my hands on the container, and I basically hugged the container and said a number of things, and he was asleep, and he goes, "Mama, you're here. How did you get here?" And I'm like, I pointed, and he goes, "Thank you." And I'll never forget him telling Robert, "Thank you for bringing my mama to me." I mean, it just, I wanted to cry. It meant, it meant so much to me. Truly meant so much. Hey, Allison, I don't think you've ever come into my chat before. It's welcome, my dear. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki Jacobs. Anyway, so it's one of my most treasured memories. It's something that I got to be careful on because I cry after I've told this story, and I have told this story on a number of occasions, but I haven't done it recently. And so I was in astral, and it was a big freaking deal to go and see my kid because I was having that specific hybrid pregnancy. I was having a really difficult time. Honey, I get people asking me all kinds of questions. You can ask me whatever you want. I'll tell you flat out. If I can answer that or if it's a safety issue and I can't. So feel free, ask what you want to ask. No rudeness though. That's the only thing I get people asking me all kinds of things. So no worries, you're not going to be a burden. Please feel free. If you've got questions, ask away. I'm not joking on that. I will answer what I can. And if I don't know it, I'll tell you that too. Anyway, welcome to my chat, my dear, and this live broadcast. So anyway, that's the words I use. She said okie dokie. I use okie dokie quite often. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't hold him, so all I could do was put my arms around and it was a big container by this point because he was almost he was almost at the stage. No, I take that back. He wasn't at the stage of being birthed. He had a couple of months before he was going to be birthed, but I was having a hard time letting go. So, and like I said, there are seasons. Write your journal notes. If you are an abductee, make explicit journal notes. If it's safe for you to do so. If not, find a way to lock down your information so that you've got high security. So just be aware of that. You'll make more progressive stuff. Hey, Drew, it's good to see you, dear. You'll make more realizations. You'll put things together easier. And it might take anywhere from a couple of months to make the realizations, or it might take a couple of years. But you'll have those notes, and that is a big deal because you'll be able to start pinpointing what has taken place and what kind of season you're on. For me, I'm typically taken anywhere from the middle to end of August. Usually it's around October, sometimes as late as November. They don't typically like to abduct the ones that I deal with. They don't typically like to abduct like middle and impregnate middle of December, end of December. I don't know why that is. But this time around, I had exactly 3 months and 2 days with my kid, and I was very, very appreciative of it. It has been told to me that I publicly appear happy that I'm at, what was the terminology that they used? Not jovial. Oh, I can't remember the words, but essentially that I'm happy that I'm pregnant. I have great connection with these kids. I love it. I do love it. It took me a long time to get that way. Stop it, stomach. I'm 56 years old. I've been doing this since I've been 13. You figure out how long that's been. Okay. They took my firstborn when I was 14, right after my 14th birthday. And I was pregnant for about 5 months. That first time around. Ooh. There, finally. Okay, that burns. Throat, not the lungs. Thank God. Amy, the equivalent would be like walking around your living room, would be going to another star system, and a city on the opposite side of Earth would be like another galaxy. Yeah, it'd be like me walking out my door and walking 2 blocks away. Would be the correlation would be that would be billions of miles away, billions, trillions of miles away. I mean, it's just absolutely astounding. And the things that I've witnessed, I mean, that was the ship that was orbiting. Here's something that I made the realization of. The ship that was orbiting that planet, where that planet had my hybrid son on it, that ship that was orbiting is a ship that I knew when I was 4 years old. That was the ship that I was on when I was 4. And I instantly knew that when I passed through it in astral. And when she recognized me, it was an incredible sensation, an incredible feeling. I've never talked about that. I didn't even tell Robert that. I don't remember telling Robert that. And that's huge. To recognize that it was a living, conscious metal ship, to recognize that it was the same ship that I was on. So basically, the what I've learned because of that experience with Robert in astral was that they have the mothership that does the abductions, that does all the different things on it, all the different sciences, all the wide range of things. And then they transfer the infant containers with infants in them, while they're gestating, because that's what they call it, gestational containers where the babies are gestating, and going for me, it's another 3 months. And then and they're taken on to a planet. And I always thought that the babies were in those gestational containers on ship until they were birthed, and that's not the situation at all. They're taken and transferred to another ship, and then transferred to that planet. And gravitational, I think it has to do with the gravitational fields, is what I think. I don't know that for sure, but that's what I suspect. And so I got to have communication with my son, and it meant everything to me. I had one of my daughters, I had communication with, like with that specific son. She was right after him. And then I didn't have any more hybrid pregnancies for a number of years. And I can only imagine why they didn't do that, for a number of reasons, because that was right around COVID time. And right when they gave me an inoculation, one that I got really pissed off over, but I'm thankful for it, because I think that they probably saved my life in a couple of ways with that inoculation, although I'm not going to talk about what I suspect was in it. And why that was the other thing. My friend, the one that asks all the questions, why do you think you were chosen specifically for these children? All I know is I've got a soul contract. It's something that I agreed upon before I incarnated. Now, that said, do I understand why? I can see it now, but I don't truly understand it in some fashion or form. I've got treasured memories with these children. It means a great deal to me, and I will protect any one of my kids. Just like I would with my human son. You get Mama Bear coming out. It's kind of a big deal. It's like, you don't screw with Mama Bear. So, anyway, so that's kind of But the craziest thing I've ever experienced this time, or well, not craziest. That's not the right words. It's not the right way to say that. The most fascinating and interesting experiences this time around were when this baby was protecting me from being having energy weapons at me, hitting me, and affecting him as well. So that's one. And then the other one was walking into the bathroom and seeing myself green. I mean, I wasn't this color of green, but I was green. I still had this skin tone of Caucasian, um, but I was green. I was a very specific color of green, and I remember looking at going like this on my arms, going, "Oh my god, I am! Oh my god! Oh my god!" And then I go like this, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Am I really seeing this?" And I was really seeing it. I mean, it was quite the experience. Um, and it was he eventually woke up and let me know that he's okay and he's alive and he was just exhausted, and which I can understand why. I mean, hello, to do what he did to protect us, holy shit. Um, so I don't know. I know that they're going to have me be hybrid pregnant again? I don't know. Um, I do enjoy the pregnancies, many of them. I'm very protective of it, and um, my human family is not a fan. Found that out the hard way. They're absolutely not a fan of me being hybrid pregnant. I understand that. Do I like it? No. But yet at the same time, I get it. I totally understand it. I totally get it. Um, and when they picked him up, uh, so I was asked on Wednesday how I was doing, how I was feeling about it, because it is a loss. Um, 12 hours. I went through a really rough patch for those 12 hours. You grieve. You grieve the loss of connection. Well, you don't have a loss of connection, but you have a loss of intimacy connection, which is very different. Um, you have a loss of that being, that not only that physical being, but a loss of that soul as well. But you know that they're not deceased. They're very much alive. They're very much in their gestational container, growing even further. And for an infant, I've never had one this big though. For an infant to be at 3 months pregnant, over 8 pounds. I had to think about it. I keep wanting to say 8.5, and I keep cutting myself off every time I do it. That's why I get a weird look on my face. Um, I've never had one so big before. I've had ones that have been about 3 to 4. Um, I'm talking about, okay, so Allison is asking, wait, so you lost one of your loved ones? I have, uh, okay, so I don't know if you've registered what I've said on the subject matter, but I'm talking about hybrid pregnancies, ET human hybrid pregnancies, and they take the babies. For me, they take the babies at 3 months, and then they're put into a gestational container. And this one, because of the kind of connection I had with him, um, and when they took him for 12 months, God damn, Nikki, sorry. I apologize. I apologize to you for swearing that specific way. Um, I I go through a grieving process, and it was hard for 12 hours after they took him. Um, and so, for example, because this has gone on since I was 13 years old, um, where they've been impregnating, I've been a surrogate mother since 13. They took that baby when I was 14 years old. Uh, it's when I was pregnant with my human son, 33, 34 years ago, um, and I had a C-section. Um, oh, stop it, stomach! Quit making noises. You're not hungry. Um, I ended up having, because of the C-section, I was terrified. My body would not let up on. I stayed at 2 and 3 centimeters. My body was so terrified of letting go of my human baby that I didn't progress. So they did an emergency C-section. And the terror was because I had been going through this. And so when I'm trying to remember how old I was. Hang on a second. Um, so I was 24 when I had my son, had my human son. And, or I was 23, just, I was a month shy of being 24. And so I'd been going through that for over 10 years, or I'd been going through it for 10 years already. Um, you know, uh, and had numerous children, numerous hybrid children by that stage. And so by the time I was having a C section, I was truly terrified that my baby was going to be ripped out of my arms because, hello, that's how I looked at it. And I never understood why. It wasn't until I started making major realizations years and years and years later that um, the reason I felt that way was because I'd have 5-month pregnancies, down to 3-month pregnancies, eventually down to 3-month pregnancies. The babies were removed from me, put into a gestational container, finished growing for another 3 months, and then removed from that gestational container, where the ETs call that being birthed. And then you are reabducted, the mom is reabducted, and you have what's called a circadian rhythm bonding situation, where that baby, the moment that baby is birthed, as soon as they clean that baby up, you are butt ass naked in a room filled with ETs, and you're holding your baby, and it's skin on skin contact over the heart. They call it a circadian rhythm bonding. And they put you in a specific chair to sit in, a rocking chair to sit in, and you rock in that chair, and it's a circadian rhythm bonding chair. That's what they call it. And there's some kind of heart to heart energy exchange between the mother and the infant. And then they take the baby from you, and they don't give you enough time to be with that baby. And it's because, and the reason they don't give enough time, yeah, I totally understand. And FYI, um, I am a Christian going through this. I'm a psychic and a medium and have a plethora of paranormal experiences as all my life, as well as the first memory that I have of ETs is at 4 years old. So, Allison, that's kind of a short synopsis of me. Um, and I stopped caring what people think of me anymore. I'm like, that's other people's opinions. It's not my business. What you think of me it's not my business. I don't care. I'm coming out because I've come out to talk. I started coming out in 2018 as a psychic medium, which was really hard being a Christian talking about that. I came out publicly in 2018 about that. Then, because I stopped sequestering myself and I stopped hiding myself, and my really close friends knew. I mean, like, really close friends knew. Certain family knew. Um, and uh, people that I knew in the church, they knew in different ways. But yeah, it was. And I don't typically talk about religion very often. So, but that's when you said, and that prayer, amen. Yeah, I get it. Um, it's very difficult dealing with all of this while knowing what I know, knowing what I've seen. This is why I say, so there's a gentleman who is a pastor. I came across his reel um, on Facebook. It was either a Facebook or an Instagram reel. No, it was Facebook. It was Facebook. And excuse me. Yeah, so gross. Sorry, folks. And he was saying this is how we know that aliens are demons. And he was showing a specific, another reel from somebody else, from another gentleman who had done meditation, and this pastor, this evangelical pastor, was saying these are demons, and I'm like, oh my God, no, they're not. And this is how I know they're not. I know what true demons are. True demons are very rare. There are, however, what I call wannabes. They are very young. They want to be demons. And they have a series of life lessons to go through and process to become a true demon. It takes multiple millennia to become a true demon. So the true ones, the true demons, and I've only ever experienced one in my entire life, and they are truly wicked. And the wannabes are really wicked too. Um, but I've had a lot of paranormal, and true demons and wannabe demons are very different kind of being. They live in the ethereal realms. ETs, also known as aliens, are not. They don't live there. They are a physical entity. They are a physical being like you and I are. Okay? They fly around in extraterrestrial ships. And now you've also got the different global governments of this planet who have reverse engineered and are part of kind of like a global space program. I don't know how else to call it. It's not just the US space program. It's literally a global space program. Not going into all of that tonight, but that said, they are also flying around in reverse engineered ships, reverse engineered extraterrestrial reverse engineered. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So when you're dealing with that kind of thing, it gets very confusing in our skies over this planet as to what's real versus what's global government real. It's very different because global government ships are made out of specific kinds of metal, very specific kinds of propulsion, very different. The metal is not living consciousness metal. It is what I can only classify it as what feels like steel. It's not steel. I don't know what it's made out of. I don't give two shits what it's made out of. I've been on those ships and I've been on true extraterrestrial ships. And extraterrestrial ships are living conscious material. I don't call it metal. Well, I have, but because I don't know what else to call it. But it's not metal as we know it. It is conscious. The second you think, oh, I need this, the ship hears your thoughts. They hear it's a form of consciousness that I don't even understand or can really grasp my mind around. And basically, if you need something, it provides it, literally. And I had an experience with that when I was 4 years old on that ship that was over that planet where Robert had taken me to, where my friend Robert had taken me to. So yeah, I mean, it's both the mothership, the mothership that I was on, was a gigantic rectangular ship. It's literally a giant rectangular. Well, that's square. Giant rectangular ship. The ship that I saw above that planet was circular, and it was gigantic, but it was circular. Both of those ships are living conscious metal. I called it metal. I don't know what the hell do you call it? But it's conscious, and it's a conscious material, and the propulsion system is completely different than what us humans use on these global government ships. So it makes sense as to why when people were seeing the drones, there are ETs that do have drones. Not all ETs, but there are ETs that do use drones. They don't look like what I've seen. There are a few that I have seen in video where I'm like, oh, that's true. Oh, that's full of shit. Oh, that's CGI or that's AI or whatever. So it gets very frustrating. A lot of the human drones are what's being put out there, and they're being put out there for very specific reasons. And I'm not going into all of that crap. But all of that said, regarding the babies and the pregnancies, what it's very much like if you're aware and you know, and you have that telepathy with baby. And my babies, specifically the last 4 or 5, get very specific about asking for certain foods. Can you have whatever? And I'm like, you mean right now? No. But I will make sure that we have that later on. Here's the other thing. This little one, this one that I just had, he wanted to understand very specific things human-wise about certain subjects, social media and movies, and there were a couple of movies that he and I watched, and he's like, because he finally understood what pause meant on a remote control, because it's extremely old school to them, very very old school to them. And the ETs, they call us infants, and they call us children, and all of this. So, here I am, ET pregnant, and this is like real serious old school shit for him, and for his soul. And he's like, "Can you hit pause, mama?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I hit pause, and then he'll start asking me questions um, about different things. Or I had conversations. He and my human son do not get along. Ouch. They they don't like each other. I was like, "Whoa, but you're siblings." Both of them said, "We are not siblings." I'm like, "But I think of you as siblings." Kind of I had to explain it to him. It's like what we humans call step siblings. And wow, I learned I got a hell of an education between the two of them. I was like, "Wow, okay." Um and I understand where that level of um belief comes from. I get it. It's not always fun, but I get it. Um and so he learned a lot about humans. We had conversations about political things, which was to my shock, because I've never had that with any of the children. He asked about oh god, he asked about the why are they I can't remember how he phrased it, but essentially, why are they targeting you, mom or mama? Um, and we went into really why, and he has a significant dislike um, to the governments here, and I can understand why. What he experienced firsthand, I think, was truly eye opening and truly shocking to him. And I think it's absolutely horrific to the extraterrestrial. Um, I just heard the word Congress. I got to write that word down. Um, that's interesting. I've never heard that said. ET Congress. That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say councils. Um, AKA councils. That's wow. Totally mind blown to me on that one. Um, wow. Okay. That's the first time I've ever heard that word regarding the extraterrestrials. The ET Congress, they're going to do something about it. Um, and that's pretty significant. Oh my god. And now I'm getting a left ear issue. Wow. Okay. I can't talk anymore about that. I'm getting instinctual feelings on it. Wow. Okay. Um, I pay attention to stuff like that. That's the other thing. Here's something. If you're an abductee, do you get a pitch in one of your ears? And I'm not talking a medical tinnitus issue. That's not what this is. I'm specifically talking about when I get abducted, for example. Before I get abducted, I have certain pitches in one of my ears, one or both, just depends. Um, And we're not going to go there. I can't talk about that. I just realized that. But I can say that when I get that ear pitch, I write it down. I make notice of it. I put it on my calendar. I do whatever I need to do to take notice of it, and get it in print in one fashion or form, because one of the things that I found out was that when I register, write it down, journal notes, whatever, regarding ear pitches, anywhere from, well, now it's anywhere from 24 hours to 12 days. I used to say 9 to 12 days, I would be abducted. Now it's anywhere from 24 hours on. Excuse me. And so, uh, and because of the targeting, I used to get white noise. I don't get white noise anymore in my ears because we healed that. Took a lot of energy, but we healed it. And now there's a form of protection on me for that. So, I'm not going to say any more on that. Anyway, so yeah, write your journal notes. This is how you can figure out if you're an abductee. This is how you can figure out what is taking place with you. Yeah. Sandra just said, I will get a high ringing in 1 year every once in a while. That's how I determined how long it would be before I would be taken. I wanted to know what the hell that was because I knew the ringing in my right ear, the periodic ringing in my right ear, was from hierarchies or, well, that's, or hierarchy royalty beings. So in one ear, it was for abduction because of a implanted device that they, I can't think of what it's called, but anyway, if you're an abductee, you typically have some kind of ET implanted device in your body. And whether it's for tracking, you'll have numerous. If you're an abductee, you'll typically have 3 or more. Well, if you're old school like me, because I'm 56, if you're younger than me or significantly younger than me, they use tech now to where they can do everything in one device. So that said, ooh, that hurt. So basically, what you learn is, if you get what I learned through, because I was journaling. If I didn't journal it, I never would have figured it out. I would be going, what the F is this going on with my ear? And with tinnitus, those that have true tinnitus, that's a medical condition. There are very specific issues with that. And there are very specific healings with it too, just an FYI, because I know somebody that actually healed their tinnitus. I'm not getting into that tonight. That's a different ball game, and that will probably get me shut down, because that goes into whole kinds of medical stuff. So if you want help with that, and people that I know, hit me up privately. Send me a message either on Facebook Messenger or in my email, restorebelief2022@gmail.com, and we'll have a conversation, and I may give you some names of people who can help with that. because of what they've learned to do and how they learned to deal with it. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so um, yeah, this is a process. When I talk about this is a process. Being an abductee is a process. You have to figure out what it is in your life that is taking place. And when I put all of this together, it just absolutely shocked the hell out of me. I mean, I was just like, "Oh my god, this is I thought I was losing my mind." And I'm not. I had people going, "Nikki, you're very sane. You've got a lot of paranormal going on, and oh my god, you're an ET abductee, and oh my god, this and this." And so when I came out to talk about, I mean, really talk about it was a hell of a shock to me as it was to everybody else. And people that had known me for 30 or 40 years, they're like, "Oh my god, I've known you since we were kids." You know? And this was going on when we were kids, and I'm like, "Yeah." But I didn't understand it. I mean, you try being 6 and 7 years old, uh, being taken, and they're putting you blocks away from your home. And you have to run barefoot, whether it's summer, spring, or fall, or winter, barefoot on cement, and your feet are filthy dirty, and you're outside your home trying to figure out, well, how do I get inside? Because all the doors and windows are locked. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, um, so there are screen memories and then there are blocked memories. And we as humans have a tendency to block our own memories because, hello, it's emotional trauma. You can't handle it. It's emotional and psychological trauma because it is very difficult to deal with all of this. And when you start making realizations and you start making journal notes and you start writing all this stuff down and you're going, "Oh my god, this correlates with that medical situation and this correlates with that medical situation." You're going, "What the hell is going on?" And you're making realizations that you've got marks on your body, triangle marks, whether it's a stamp, looks like a stamp mark or a tattoo mark that you haven't had any tattoos on your body, or you've got 3 dots in the shape of a triangle and they do dots. But then, oh my god, they've disappeared in a certain amount of time, or you've got what looks like a surgical mark. Well, right now I've got a scratch on my wrist from my other finger fingernail, but when you've got a surgical mark, an actual slice and dice with suture marks, and it disappears within 48 hours or 12 hours or even 6 hours, and you're like, "Where the hell did that go? What how can that heal so fast?" Well, ETs, real ETs will put a spray over it. If it's my labs, they'll leave it as is and you get to heal all on your own. Excuse me. So, it's very difficult being an ET abductee. It's not something easy. Um, that's why I say make make lists, write notes, because you'll start putting things together. The babies, um, you have to be aware. You have to pay attention. If you're not paying attention like I really wasn't paying attention in the 90s because, hello, I was a mom. We were homeschooling. We were doing all sorts of stuff in the 90s. And, it's just um, life. I mean, it was just it's life dealing with different things and you're trying to live. You're just trying to live, and but you've got to pay attention. And that's what happened to me in 2008. I had a very severe back injury and basically got forced to deal with that in a very different way. Basically, learning how to even walk with that kind of pain, let alone go into the bathroom with that kind of pain, and back and body pain. And it forces you to pay attention to other things. And that's what happened with me. I was aware before, but not like I am now. I knew spirits were talking to me. I used to be able to see spirits when I was a child. I mean, see them as if, like, standing right here in my room and having conversations with me. And after I had an experience when I was 6 or 7 years old with a specific ET who presented themselves to me after me begging them to, and me screaming my head off because, hello, they were in my home and I wasn't on board their ship. They were on my turf, and I lost my ever loving shit. And I screamed bloody murder um, over being terrified because it became very, very real. And because of that terror, it literally shut down my ability to see the in the etherical in a very specific way. However, it didn't stop me from being a psychic medium. It didn't stop me from seeing what was going to happen in the future. It didn't stop me from hearing them talking to me. It didn't stop them from, or it didn't stop me from um, being able to psychically see them. I could no longer see them with these visual eyes, but I could see them with my psychic eyes. Very different. Um, and so when you have a trauma that is so shocking to you, and it's totally because this specific ET, I had begged and pleaded and all this stuff. I mean, oh man, you're talking a 6, 7 year old kid who's just like non-stop. She relented. She wasn't going to, but she relented. And that was the result, unfortunately. And if that had not have been the result, I think I would have not consciously put a block on certain things. She put a screen memory over that memory. I had a ghost that was singing me to sleep. Some people have heard this story before. I used to have when I lived in that house, we had a an earthbound spirit, what we would normally call a ghost, who would, because I was upset at night, because I was terrified they were going to come and get me, the ETs, she would sit on the edge of my bed and tell me to, and I've never said this before publicly. I don't think I've ever said this to anybody, actually. She used to tell me to lie down on my stomach and rub my back. And she would sing to me. That would help me relax. And then I would turn over on my back and I would be face up and I would see her. And she would be sitting there singing to me. And her voice was just, it was beautiful. And this is a woman who wanted children, but who had died right after a week after she was married, and horrible car accident and all this stuff. And she was a beautiful woman. Well, they took that memory, the ETs took that memory and put a screen memory over it. And they used that to cover that specific memory that I had of this ET. All I remember is being on my bed screaming my head off. And I didn't understand why, when it woke my mom up, why she had to turn on the light in my room, because when the ET was there, the room was completely lit. Well, it took a number of years for me to register and realize that the ship was producing this white broad spectrum. I can only call it broad spectrum, but it was the whitest of white lights. The only thing excuse me. The only thing that I can even attribute or mm, come close to describing it as, I have hierarchies and hierarchy royalty beings, specifically prime angels who have come to me, and they're the ones that are way over 25 feet tall. I stopped counting at 25 feet because they freaked me out that bad, regarding their height, not regarding them. And I actually had one here since I moved. I actually had a, a prime angel show up in my home, and I moved here in June of last year, June of last year, and so um, they're bright white. God, when I've had conversations with God and I've been protecting um, other souls, human souls or spirit souls, um, and he's like, it's time to cross them over, and I'm like, yes, I know. I'm being telepathic. Yes, I know. But because I'm so verbal, when I talk to the spirits, I'm not always telepathic. I'm usually verbal with them, and um, his his light is stark, bright white. It's blindingly white. And that is what it's like with the prime angels. And that is also what it's like with the ETs with their ships. If they have that light on, it encompasses everything. Well, in this specific situation, when I was 6 and 7 years old, it lit up the whole neighborhood. We're talking blocks wide. I mean, it was really, really white, and it lit up my entire room. So I could see her fully. I knew exactly what she looked like. But I thought she physically looked like a he. Well, that's beside the point. But there was no genitalia or anything like that. It's because it's inside their body. Well, that's another subject. And it's not visually seen, although she was standing there essentially butt ass naked, no breasts, no genitalia, anything like that. So, um, but the light was pure white light, and my room was completely lit, and it never registered with me all those years. Oh, as a little kid, all those years ago, all the way up until a number of years, not less than 5 years ago. It took me that long to register. Oh my God, why did my mom come in? When I started looking back at that memory, why did my mom come in and have to turn the light on? Well, it's because the ET made herself invisible. She phase shifted into a higher frequency real fast, went completely invisible from my visual field, and the next thing I know is I'm sitting on the bed with my um, blankets, which were not very many, over my feet and legs, and I'm sitting upright and I'm screaming, and my mom's coming in and turning on the light, going, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And I'm screaming, "Monster." I'm pointing and I'm screaming, "Monster." So, that memory, sections of that memory were removed, hidden, not removed. They were hidden by what's called a screen memory. And that screen memory was this spirit. Sorry, getting a pitch again. That screen memory was a memory of the ghost singing to me. And I had that for years and years. She used to sit on my bed every night. Well, that's because they took that memory of what was really taking place and hid what had actually taken place. I used to hide in my closet. I used to try hiding under my bed. Didn't work. So I used to hide in my closet. They knew exactly where I was. Because, hello, I had a frickin' tracking device in me. So, and that's why I say they know everything, because they monitor us as abductees. It's almost like, in one way, we're property. That's why, that's why I talk about the babies being property, because not only are they family to them, they are a form of property. They created these embryos. They created fertilized eggs and did the splicing and dicing, and they've seen these pregnancies come to fruition into hybrid children that then become hybrid adults very, very quickly. So being ET pregnant, I knew a lot of hybrids on ship. I knew a lot of ETs on ship. I knew a lot of humans on ship. Matter of fact, something I've never publicly stated is calling somebody out. I can, now that he's dead. So if you go back through my, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to say this. If you go back through my videos, you will hear me talk about a person, human, that I knew when I was 4 years old, who changed. And that person was Michael W. Hall. So I've said it out loud now. Can't take it back. When I was 4 years old, he was somewhere between 18 and 22, if I remember correctly. And he was the one who took my hand. And when I was 4 years old, and 1 minute the ETs, so I knew him on board ship. And then I ended up meeting him, and he and I instantly connected, and neither one of us really could figure out why. And then I realized what the hell had taken place, and when I started having more memories, and I went, oh my God. And I was on the UFOI team, and he and numerous people created the UFOI team. Talk about coming full circle. It's a hell of a realization, folks. So that's the connection with the UFOI team and with Michael. So that said, and that's why I was so pissed at him when he betrayed me. He outright fucking betrayed me. F-bomb, sorry. That's why I get so pissed at him. That's why he's not allowed in my home, because I don't know if I'll ever forgive him. So, yeah. And periodically he tries to come and talk to me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Get the hell out of my home. I don't want anything to do with you. And I don't know. I don't honestly know if I'll ever forgive him. But obviously I'm still really fucking angry at him. Another F-bomb. And rightly so, because of the kind of betrayal. So, but yeah, I knew him when I was 4 years old on board an ET mothership Um, and he's the one where one minute I am with the group of kids and there's a bunch of human adults there, and I see this great big window and a wall underneath the window. There's nothing else there but a wall. And the wall is somewhere between 6 and 8 feet tall. And I really wanted to look out the window. And I had turned back around. I had that thought. I turned back around to the group. I don't remember what happened in the group. And the room smelled. There was such a horrible smell in that room. And it was from certain ETs that were in the room. I don't remember why. I just know that they emitted a very distinct odor that I did not like, but you adjusted to it while you're there. It's kind of like it. Example of it is like being around somebody who had a really bad fart. Really, really, really bad fart. And it's just permeated the room. There's no other way to be blunt about that other than just to say it. And I hear a noise that I can't even describe it. The only thing that even remotely comes close, hey, lovey love. How you doing, Vanessa? Um, the only, yeah, I know. I know, you go back and forth between different shows, I get it. Um, the only thing so anyway, I turned back around. Oh, so the sound, the only thing that I can even remotely describe it as is a whooshing sound. It's not even really a whooshing sound, but that's the only thing that even remotely comes close to it. Um, and I turn around because I hear this sound and I feel it. The energy feels different. And I turn around and there's a platform with stairs that are the size, children's size. Not adult size, but very distinctly children's size. Climb the stairs, I walk up on the platform, I look out the window, and it's, you know, it's that entire situation where I've talked about that over and over and over again. That's where I knew the Butterfly Nebula as the Infinity Galaxy because that is what I was told it was called. That's what the ETs call it, the Infinity Galaxy. Um, and then I saw a lot of other nebula. I saw lots of other star systems and planets and things I can't even. Anytime I see something from NASA, I'm like, oh my God, that's it. I got to take a screenshot. I got to screenshot it. So I've got all kinds of screenshots. I get really excited because I don't always see things that I have seen. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I got to find out the name of that. And then I talk to certain individuals that are very science oriented, and we're like, you got to help me find this. We got to find the name to it. So, sorry. Thank God my throat doesn't hurt. I am so thankful for that. Although I did shred my throat yesterday because of this stupid coughing. Anyway, weird coughing. Anyway, um, and Michael is the one who got told by the ETs to come and get me because I was putting my hand up on the window, and it wasn't a window, it was a energy barrier, and they didn't want me touching the energy barrier. It was pissing them off, basically, although that's an emotion. They don't have emotion. But and Michael is the one who came and got me. So when I talk about that kind of thing, that's how I know Michael W. Hall. I know him from when I was 4 years old, and he was 18 to 21, 22 years old. So, And that's why he and I have issues, because of years later on the UFOI team, he betrayed me. And he betrayed me in a very, very specific way. And I'm still too pissed off over it. And I don't know if I'll ever forgive him. It's something that I need to forgive, because my soul will not be able to release certain things if I don't. I know this. I know this logically. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I can actually talk about that now that he's deceased. So, and now that I've just made that extremely public. So yeah. And when I say I cried and grieved for him when I realized how much he had changed after he did what he did, it's an understatement. Because he was a very different person back then. Very, very, very different person. And just an FYI, when you're on board an ET ship, you behave differently than what you are in your regular daily life. Just an FYI, folks. You're an abductee and you're on board a ship. Don't necessarily expect the people, the humans that you know on board that ship. This is what I learned from this situation. They're not necessarily going to be the same as they are in their regular daily life. Although there are a few people that I have recognized from a certain show, very, very well-known show now, that I've been watching since 2018, because of Michael, actually, which that I'm very thankful for, because I very much appreciate the ouch. Sorry, my ankle's trying to pop. I very much appreciate that. And yeah, it just became really interesting, to say the least, regarding certain people that I've recognized from being on board true ET ships, not on board, although I have come across people, because I am part of my labs too. I have come across a number of people who are part of either my labs or some other government BS program, and I recognize them. But this is very different when you're on board an ET ship, and there have been people. There's a couple of women that I recognize from that show, that I'm like, oh my god, I know them. I know them from dot 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 dot, and it's incredible. So, but regarding going back to the pregnancies, oh, and FYI, I don't know how Michael's family is going to like this, but he is the father of multiple hybrid children. Many, many, many hybrid children, like I am. And I'm not going to say how I know that. So he's got offspring out there, just like I have offspring out there, hybrid offspring. So, there are quite a few people who are abductees. No, he's talked about his abductee stuff, so it's nothing new. But I don't know if he actually wrote up in any of his books or novellas or whatever he wrote up and sold. So, just an FYI. But the children go on to do typically great works. Many of them have gotten into the sciences. Many of them have gotten into protecting humans. Many of them have gone into and I'm not just talking my hybrid children. I'm talking about a vast amount of these children. Oh, that's what I was gonna tell you. One of the reasons why the circadian rhythm chair, um, the reason they're on such a time limit with the circadian rhythm bonding chairs, is because you're one of hundreds in a line. That's something that I only realized in the last year. It was really, really difficult for me to come to terms with. I'm still not really to terms with that, because when I'm taken for my bonding with my baby, this baby, um, I'm going to ask them, can you please, I am requesting more time, even if that means that I get up and move to a different room. Now, I know so that they can have the next female abductee come in and do their circadian rhythm bonding. That's that was really hard for me to accept. That was the reason why I have always felt like they rip the babies out of your arms too soon. Well, they don't deal with emotions. Very legalistic, very scientific oriented. So to them, it's not registering as to this is what it's doing to us emotionally, us humans emotionally. It's a big deal. So that's something to take, to take into consideration. Take into consideration when talking with them and making that request, because I want more time with my kid. Now the other reason is they are, oh, stop it, stomach. They are also doing this so that you don't have, yes, exactly, Amy. No, Vanessa, it's not heartburn. It's I've had Biomeadow. Thank you, Corridor X. Yeah, it's living metal. I know it's living metal. Um, and welcome, Corridor X. I don't believe you've been in my chat, I think. Um, Amy says it's an assembly line, so many minutes per person. Yes, it is an assembly line. And Vanessa, love you, love. No, it's not heartburn. Um, it's yeah, I realized that the second yeah. Anyway, um I'm just not used to never mind. I'll have a chat with you later. Good one, no big deal. Um no, it's so Vanessa, I've had pneumonia, and the cough and all of that, I'm still experiencing it. And so when I go through that, I'm trying to control a cough, and I'm trying to release what's left of any mucus from my lungs. And I'm also getting sinus drainage from my sinuses into my lungs, and I'm trying to avoid that. So I'm having to breathe a specific way, and it gets very frustrating. Um, yeah, I'm still getting down. She's asking about downloads. I'm still getting downloads, but it's very different. Um, yeah, no, I'm not doing antibiotics because my body goes through antibiotics like it's going out of style. I do herbal tinctures and vitamin supplements. Um, yes, yes, Corridor is saying, so you're getting into breathing techniques. Yeah, I'm doing breathing techniques and having, um, Vanessa hit me up on Messenger, and I'll give you a list. I'll give you a list of tinctures that really work, because but you have to realize that Robert White helped me as well as, but hit me up on Messenger. Robert White helped me as well as my hybrid baby. And between the two of them, they significantly helped me. This is the first time I've ever had only a week and a half of actual infection. Whereas normally when I have pneumonia, I have 6 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks are trying to get back into normalcy. Hang on a second. Can't do it. Hang on. And I'm getting tired, so I'm starting to use the F word a lot. Corridor. Nikki, check to see if you have special properties to your energy systems to make certain bodily functions to behave almost like they attempting alchemic reactions. Yeah, I do different various things on that. Anyway, but serious, Vanessa, hit me up on Messenger, otherwise I'm not going to remember it. I'm starting to get tired, and 2 hours and 40 minutes been doing this, looking for the word of what to check on my computer. Hang on. Okay. Anyway, yeah, because I'm not going to remember it. I'm getting tired. I'm starting to use the F word more. Well, that makes the third pitch I'm getting in my ear. This one's much more quiet, though. Anyway, but yeah, so Corridor X, I've talked about that. You're still so sick. Yeah, I want to go for a walk with my kid tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that tomorrow. I think I'm going to have to wait until Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, but we'll see what happens. I know I had a relapse already. That's what scared me. So anyway, yeah, 2 hours and 41 minutes into this, so I've been talking a lot. It's probably the most I've really talked in since I got sick. Yeah. But I am better than I was. So anyhow, point being, yeah, and I'm not going to be on here much. I'm 18 minutes maybe, if that. I think I need to cut it off at 3. Yes, I know. Yeah. Yeah, the fascia in this system is, in the human body, is you can really do a lot if you start working with that. Yeah, check the energy layers close to your fascia. Yeah, it really works, to say the least. Anyhow, but these babies are awesome, truly. Oh dear, I'll have to read that in a moment. Well, I've got a friend who's got a situation with family. Wow. Okay. So yeah, it's speaking of which, I'm pulling energy from Earth right now. I didn't even know I was doing it until I just reread that, and wow. So the babies go on to be adults very, very quickly, and I mean, we are talking speed growth. It's like I don't even know how to explain. I mean, well, I do know how to explain it. I've explained it. Go through my videos. You'll find out how fast they grow up. But mine wanted to stay with me. I talked about that on Wednesday. This one, he wanted to stay with me and have me birth him on Earth. And I explained to him, I'm like, then we'll have to go into hiding. You and I will have to go into hiding, because government already knows that I'm hybrid pregnant. Government will want to harm you, create a test subject and all this shit, and I won't allow it. There's no way in hell. And I'm like, my darling, you cannot be birthed here on earth with them knowing that I am a surrogate mother. I would love, matter of fact, I had no problem if I could birth him on ship and go with him and be gone with him for the first month. I would do it in a heartbeat, which is probably going to come to a hell of a shock to my family. But if I didn't have very specific responsibilities right now, I would do that in a freaking heartbeat. Yeah, that's exactly it. Corridor, close. Yeah, I'm not going to read that out loud. Yeah, I told the others about that. Forget government, anything. They don't look human in the human world is treated like a threat. Yes, they are. They're very much treated like a threat. And I mean, the abilities that this baby had were incredible. I mean, the others had that ability, but nowhere near as strong. So I can't even imagine what he's going to be like when he's an adult. In however long. He's going to be a big boy. He's probably going to be one of the biggest hybrids I've ever had, which is fine by me. I can conceptually see him being over 9 feet tall. And I do mean conceptually. I haven't seen that psychically, but that's what I envision because of how big he was. I've never had a hybrid at 3 months old be over 8 pounds, ever. So that to me tells me he's going to be a big boy, big man. And I'm very thankful for that. And I realized while I was pregnant with him who his soul is. And I've known his soul for many, 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 many lifetimes. He's family. He to me is family. And besides my son, he to me is soul family. And I'm vicious when I come to protect my soul family. It's like, no, that you don't F with my soul family. It's like, don't mess with my family. Biological or otherwise, it's like, no way. Yeah, I've been making some networks talk to me later. You need to be allowed access to them. Yeah. I'm going to start coughing again. Finally. Excuse me. Finally. That's drainage. That's not lungs. Anyway, so here's the thing. If you're an AT abductee, are you in one of the hybrid programs? If you're not, what are you doing with them and for them? Do you have a soul contract? Because usually most people do. The pregnancies, you want to be careful with anything. The pregnancies, sorry, somebody had written something in chat. You gotta be careful with what you ingest and what you take, prescription wise. Of course, they monitor. Matter of fact, how I knew, well, besides the fact that baby was taken, when I walked back into my room, I hadn't moved anything in my room. except for the blankets on my bed and my CPAP mask. I hadn't moved anything. And I go to look at my computer, and all of my pill bottles, and what I mean by pill bottles, I mean like I had 3 prescription bottles sitting out. I had a couple of pens sitting out. Everything was in specific positions when I went to bed last night, but not last night, but that night, or my night. And when I come back in from going to the bathroom, washing the hands, coming back in, I realized that everything on my table had been moved. That was fun, including the pens. The pens that I had. I had one pen, and I had something else that looks like a pen. And they were completely in different positions. Matter of fact, one was even over 6 inches away from where I had put. I was trying to think of how long. It was over 6 inches away from where I had placed it. The bottles had been turned. The bottles were not in the same position that I had left them in. Not just turned, but actually moved. There were herbal tinctures, bottles that had been moved. There were, they went through everything to find out everything that I had been taking. They wanted to get off my screen. They had wanted to know what the heck I had been taking. And I'm like, ask baby, he knows. Probably not. And then all they have to do, hello folks, they have every single memory of yours. Yes, I remember him. Don't put his full name in there, though. Don't correct that, okay? But yeah, it just, it kind of threw me. I just totally messed my head up a minute. Yeah, they had moved everything on my table. So they have all of our memories. They download, that's the only way I can describe it as. They download our memories. Everything, our thoughts, our memories, everything we see, everything we think. Now, why they couldn't, I know they downloaded it from me, but I don't know why they didn't look through it. It's probably because the device is too small. But they take all of that. It's really fascinating to me. So yeah. Hello. So they have all the baby's memories. They have all of mine. They know what happened to me. That's why I was told Congress, ET Congress. They're taking their stuff to ET Congress. Well, they didn't just take it. It's already there, and it's already in the process of being discussed, because I can, like I said, I can feel it. So, yeah, I got about 6, 5, something like that. So, I can't get my brain to brain. Can't get my brain to think. Anyway, so that's what it's like being ET pregnant. You have this really intense connection. If you are aware. If you're not aware, like I was in the 90s and early 2000s, you'll register that you're pregnant, but you will not grasp other things regarding the pregnancy. Now, if you've got it in your medical records that you're pregnant, and you go back and you find out that you're no longer pregnant, how long was it? Was it 6 weeks? Was it 8 weeks? You know, were you nauseated during your pregnancy? Was it something other? Now, I suspect, I don't know this for sure, but I suspect that my pregnancies are genetically done for 3 months for a specific reason. Um, Surrogacy is 3 months. Now, why is our mine? I have a feeling it has to do with my metabolism. That's what I think. But I can't I can't get anybody to respond to it. I can't get the ETs to respond to it. But there are women that I know that are like, no, I've always had, and everybody I know has always had 6-week pregnancies. Well, I'm sorry, I've heard other people say 8 weeks. I've only heard a couple of other women say that they're 3 months. So that leads me to believe that there are very few of us who are having 3-month pregnancies. Well, why is that? What is so specific about us to where we are 3-month pregnancies instead of 6 to 8 week pregnancies? What makes our body that specific? So, and just an FYI, I've never been blue and I've never been green before, and I've never been tawny brown before with a pregnancy, but I was this time. I went green. That's because baby was trying to protect us. And he did a couple of other things that protected us, and I'm so incredibly thankful for that. But to do that at infancy, wow, that's incredible. I mean, truly. Sorry. I got an itch on my face right here. It's driving me nuts. What else? Oh, because of the menopause. And yeah, I am going through menopause. I am having hybrid pregnancies while I'm going through menopause. That's a bizarre thing to me. Very, very bizarre. Darling, I know you're not stupid. Extremely smart. So yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. I'm trying to think of things that a friend of mine asked me while I was ET pregnant, because I didn't tell the hell of a lot of people. Now, typically, I have asked to be pregnant a little longer because I like the connection. The connection has almost always been pretty cool. I'm going through notes right now, see if I can call up. The person said it's beautiful, but it's bittersweet, and I would totally and completely agree with that. It is bittersweet. I'm Are you able to maintain communication while baby is in the gestational containers, or is that on pause until birth? Um, Not all the babies. I've not been able to connect with all the babies after they've been removed from me as the surrogate mom. There have been really the last 4, specifically 2 of them. So that's been really interesting to me. Yeah, and I'm getting tired, really tired. It's starting to hit me now. Okay, so I'm trying to. I love this comment. I'm not going to read all of it, but I will say this. Mother's Day. They commented about Mother's Day. Well, Mother's Day on Earth is not the same as ET Mother's Day. They commented I should have 27 to 30 calls from children on our Mother's Day. Never would have thought about that. Um, the heck of a thought process, though. I love the comment. I love the comment that was so. Um, the conversations with this, the conversations about with this hybrid son about um, specific human things, like having to explain to him what it means to be a step sibling, what it means to be family. Um, oh, I've got 6 in the chat corridor. Yeah, I've got 6 showing up. And it's very possible there are folks that are watching via uh, uh, phones that are there. I can't think of how it's done. I'd have to explain it to you later, and I don't know if I have the ability right now. Kind of like a live reel. YouTube is doing live reels, and it's bizarre to me how they're going about and doing it. But yeah. Anyway, so my point with that is he asked a lot of questions because he went from the adult psychology right down into the child psychology. I couldn't think of what it's. Yeah, I'm getting too tired. So anyhow, but I found it really fascinating. I found it really, really fascinating. He learned a lot about society. He learned a lot about government. He learned a lot about entertainment, such as news and not news, movies. He did learn about news. He learned about what people write and how they believe, and the different religions of the world. He was asking very specific questions about religion here on Earth, and so I took him through a number of different religions that he wanted to know about. Things that he had not asked before his psychology became, he went from adult to the child psychology. So fascinating. I mean, it truly was. We had a lot of homeschool lessons, basically. And my close friends know that I I don't pull any punches when it comes to information. I tell it like it is. Excuse me. Ouch. So, it was fascinating to me what he learned um, from the standpoint of what it's like on Earth, the weather patterns, what's taking place, what is on social media, Ooh, that was an eye opener to him. Um, it was almost like an experience or an experiment, not an experience, an experiment. Um, but when I realized that I knew him and that he was soul family, that totally, it was a mind boggler to me. I was like, wow, okay. Um, so, um, a lot of this was telepathic communication. Also, a lot of it was verbal. There were times where I was walking around my home, talking verbally, and I'm like, "Oh, that's gonna be fun. They're gonna think I'm nuts. Oh, I don't give two shits anymore," which I don't. It's just like, when I had a doctor's appointment while I was pregnant, um, there were so many times where I could have had a pregnancy test to be able to prove, and then I'm like, "Who the hell am I trying to prove this to? I don't give two shits. I know what's happening to me. I don't care. I don't." Um, but other people do. And am I doing it for them? Do I care? No, I don't. So, other people are like, "Oh, you've got to prove it." No, who do I have to prove it to? You? Why do I have to prove that? I'll try and prove the skin marks and all of that. I don't care. I this is my experience. I'm talking about my experience, what I've witnessed, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've felt, whether it's physical or otherwise. Um, One day, if I have to, yeah, then I will. I didn't want to prove it because I don't want government trying to take me and get the kid. No way in hell. No, 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 no. So, and being targeted, is kind of a big deal. I'm like, no, I'm done with them and their shit, and there's no way. It's a form of protection. So my family's very glad it's done and over with, to say the least. Um, anyway, yeah, I'm getting very tired. Um, I hope that this, um, how do I say this? I hope that this explains some of this information. Um, you go through pregnancy hormones just like you do with the humans, but it's very different. It's very, very different. Um, and I don't know how to explain that. I just know it's different. Um, and as you know, I can explain a lot of things, or I try to explain things that if it's not truly understandable, I'll find a movie and go, okay, it's the only way I can explain it is it's like this section of this movie. Da, 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 da. It's the only thing that I can even. And just as an FYI, Hollywood and the government have been doing soft disclosure, trickle down soft disclosure through movies for generations. I mean, really, since movies were movies. Um, US government, based on the book that I read, you're going back into the 1930s. So I truly think that in the 1940s and 50s, when they were really starting to do the ETs, aliens on Earth, and blah blah, and the scare tactics and the scare movies, I think, and now you've got government, you've actually got military officials who are dealing with certain Hollywood um, created shows and certain Hollywood movies. No, you can't put that in this movie because you can't. We will not allow it. And I'm like, holy shit, the military's getting involved in Hollywood? Well, yeah, they have been for years. A lot of years. So a lot of this stuff that you see, I mean, some of it is incredibly accurate, and then others of it are shit. It's made up. So, just recognize the fact that there are, for example, the movie Jupiter Ascending. There are forms of real ETs in that movie. I mean, character forms of it. I mean, there's extraterrestrials with very much certain exactness or similarities. Love to have the boots that she had, though. Anyway, that's beside the point. And I often wonder if some of these actors register that some of that is real. What they've been in the movies with. Kind of a scary thought. If you were an actor and you registered that, oh my God, that's real. None of the other stuff is, but that is. Would you continue acting? Knowing that you're part of disclosure in some fashion or form? Really? Anyway, the coming months, supposedly I've got to look at my Facebook page. What the hell is it? Come on. There is a prediction that I was given. I want to read it. I'm going to make this public. I wasn't going to, but I am now. And this one might get me into some trouble. We'll see. Where, pray tell, art thou? There we are. Okay. It's regarding California. So on the 16th of this month, I received psychic information. I said I'm being told by spirit guides and spirits that on or around the 21st of January, so Tuesday, there will be more California fires coming. Now, these are the direct quotes that I was given from spirit, from my spirit guides as well. Devastation, the likes we have never seen, quote unquote. Quote, worse than we can ever imagine, end quote. Quote, leveled, end quote. Quote, burning sky, end quote. A form of annihilation. Quote, unlike the likes of what we have never seen. Excuse me. Unlike, okay, that's my dyslexia. I apologize. Quote, unlike the likes of what we have already seen, end quote. And significant lives lost. And, quote, don't say we didn't warn you, end quote. I have never before been told anything like that last quote. Don't say we didn't warn you. I do not like this. Stay on alert. Pay attention. Take notice of your environment. Whether or not this is going to happen or happens, always be prepared, such as having a to-go bag for each person living at home, including for each animal and pet paw boots in case of leaving a destroyed area and having them walk over dangerous areas in order to leave. Get them adjusted to using the paw boots. Got to protect those pads on our fur babies' paws. Have original documents or copies. Make sure there are copies of important documents inside the to-go bags. Remember, laminated and labeled with names and birth dates on photographs of your loved ones. Emergency meds if necessary, and if at home, think about having a family meeting spot outside of the house if the loved ones become separated from each other. As always, be prepared beforehand. And then I say, what causes the issue? I can only estimate, and gut instinct tells me government, but I have zero psychic information to lean on regarding that bit. Then I say, why would two psychics receive similar but yet the same information for that state? And then I say, there are numerous psychics on my Facebook page. Are any of you receiving the same information? I haven't had any comments on that part of it, but there are two of us that are having the same information. Almost identical. Almost. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I don't know if it's going to take place or not, but that's what I was told. Hell, I was told. Oh, God. Sorry. I was told in December or November, I don't remember which right now, that there was going to be an earthquake. It was like a weird 3-point something earthquake in Washington, and it was going to be specific, and it was about oh God, I can't remember right now. It was too long ago. But the point is that I never saw it happen. And I'm like, okay, why tell me that there's going to be an earthquake? Did I check the information at the time? No. This I checked. There were so many spirits who had said it, combined with 2 to 3 spirit guides. I think it was 3, but yeah, okay, I just got told, yes, it was 3. 3 spirit guides who were telling me the same thing. Why would I have that many spirits tell me? So that leads me to believe there's insidiousness, vileness about to take place again. Well, why is it being done? Why? I mean, I can guess. I can make assumption, especially after what that governor or whoever the hell he was, mayor, governor, I don't remember right now. The behavior of being excited for selling properties, and that was vile, in my opinion. Really freaking vile. And I was like, wow, you are seriously part of the problem. Anyway, always have a to-go bag. Natural disasters, no matter what kind it is. I learned this in the 1990s when I was a co-coordinator with the Seattle Emergency Management. I was a co-coordinator on for my neighborhood. We were responsible for, God, I don't remember how many houses right now. Something like 52, 42, 52, I don't remember. Anyway, and we had a 6.8 earthquake in Seattle. And I had to go I was home at the time. The other co-coordinator, she was downtown Seattle. She was working at an attorney's office in downtown, one of the skyscrapers in downtown Seattle during the 6.8. We had just gotten home at the time. My kid was at a school function in a pool. They went to a pool. We had just dropped him off and had just returned home, and we weren't even home for, I think, 4 minutes, and the 6.8 earthquake hit. Always have a to-go bag. Make sure you've got extra shoes in that to-go bag. Make sure you've got an extra pair of underwear. If you're a woman, extra bra, pants, panties, food, emergency supplies. Like, you need at least 3 days worth of supplies in a to-go bag. It's kind of crucial. So, make sure you've got pictures. If you live with people or you have loved ones across the country, make sure that you've got laminated. This is what I learned back then. Laminated pictures. And on the backs of those pictures, you have their name, their birth date, their age at the time of whatever year. And okay, Vanessa, thank you. And you have that kind of stuff in case there's some kind of natural disaster so that you can grab and go. That's a big deal. And you make sure that you've got stuff. If you've got animals, you make sure you've got stuff for them. It's a grab and go situation. And the other thing I was told was that if this does happen, well, not if, they were telling me when, but that's beside the point. I'm saying if it happens. I was told that it was going to happen at night. And I saw blue and red and yellow energy straight down from the sky. So, it's grab and go. It's grab and go. Make sure you've got what you need. Anyway, hybrid pregnancies, they can be interesting, to say the least. The connection, if you choose to be aware, your connection can be pretty freaking cool. In some regards, I highly recommend it. On another, I wouldn't, because it means so much more. But anyway, on that note, exactly, Lovey Love. She's saying, this is giving me a flash of memory from a child in church. Quote, like a thief in the night, end quote. Bingo. Not from a child, but as a child. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get some rest, lady. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I'm gonna shut this off, and then I'm not touching this one like I didn't touch the other one. It's gonna be what it is. I'm not putting timestamps or anything on this one. I gotta go sleep. I need to go and zone out, watch a little TV, and then I'm gonna go to bed. That was a lot longer than I anticipated. Wednesday night wiped me out badly, and so I didn't even know if I was going to do a 2-hour, or I honestly only expected a 1 hour. Yeah, she says, heal up. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, you're welcome, my dear. There's a lot of information in this. These are my experiences, and take of it what you will. It's my life. This is, yeah, Amy. Don't most thieves operate at night? Infrared sensors might catch them. Yeah, very possible. Oh, and be careful of the CGI images and the AI garbage that people are posting. It is so easy because of the AI stuff now. Oh my God, to create false narratives. Be careful, people. Yeah, I know how to contact you. Quarter. So just be careful who you follow. That's the other thing. Be careful who you follow, and be careful the information that is being spewed out there. Well, Yeah, there are, but at the same time, there are folks who don't, and a mass majority of folks don't quarter. So, I was saying some thieves know how to avoid some sensors and even make it hard for those to work. Christine, I'm still here listening, setting up a humidifier due to dry air. Yeah, we don't have, yeah, it's very cold here. Well, I don't know what it is right now. Yeah, it's 28 right now. 28 degrees. There are ways to decrease how much heat you give. Yeah, that's true. After love you love Amy. After many years in retail, no, they've been thieving all times of day. Yeah, that's true. But when it comes to government, um, they're thieves too. Think about that. They've been doing a lot of thievery and a lot of really detrimental changes. That's one of the things that the ETs are very upset over. Very, very upset over how much deplorable things that the human global governments are doing on this planet um, is very wicked. And they do not like the fact that I look at what's going on in California with their water. Oh, horrible. Absolutely horrible. Horrible, deplorable. So, yeah. Yes, exactly. Love you, love. Hell, the government ain't nothing but a thief, right? I'm like, yeah, they really are in the grand scheme of things. There are some people who are trying not to be that way. I mean, they're honest. They're trying to be honest and good. And then there are others that are just wicked beyond description. And a lot of the deep state, yeah, I consider them as wicked beyond description. So anyway, I can continue on, but I can't at the same time. I hope you have a good beginning of your week. I am going to be trying to be on Thursday. Let me check my calendar to be sure. Yes, I'm going to be trying to be on Thursday. And we will see what happens. I hope to be able to do it. I have no idea. If you have a subject matter you want to talk about, or have me talk about, I should say, hit me up. Let me know. Put a suggestion in the comment section underneath this. I will, I'll seriously consider it. I mean, like that one friend, I mean, he had a lot of questions. And I know he works a lot of different hours, so that's probably why he wasn't here, because he's almost always in my chat. So, and I very much appreciate that. On that note, take very good care of yourself, folks. Be good to yourselves. Have fun. Get yourself to have some kind of fun. I know that can be difficult for some folks, so find ways to create joy. Little, even if it's seconds worth of joy. You know? Hey, Robert. Excuse me. And since Robert's here, I'm going to say a public thank you, sir, for all your help while I was sick and while I was ET hybrid pregnant. Thank you. Most very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you, thank you. Very much appreciated it. Anyway, I hope you all do very well this week and take very good care of yourselves. And don't get this pneumonia shit. I kid you not. Boost that immune system during this winter time. Be good about it. Make sure that you're consistent with it, because that's the one thing that I'm having problems with now. So, but anyway, much love to everybody. Have a very good week. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye.